Alveolar gas equation is used to calculate the partial pressure of oxygen in alveoli. In this video, I am going to tell you what is alveolar gas equation. Hey everyone, welcome back to HM Learnings. I am Harshita, the creator of HM Learnings, where students come to clear their concept and to get the study material. Make sure you subscribe our channel. So today we are here with the next video on the respiratory physiology, which is alveolar gas equation. So if you have seen our previous videos, in the previous videos we have talked about the composition of air in atmosphere and airways, that how the composition of the different gases, the partial pressure of different gases is different in the atmosphere, and when the air enters inside the airways, in the conducting airways, the composition is different, the partial pressure changes. How it changes, if you haven't seen the previous video, please go and watch those videos. We have also seen in the previous videos that it's basically that how with the change in the altitude also the partial pressure of gases also changes. So in this video we are going to talk about that after the airways, when the air enters inside the alveoli, what is the composition of the gases in the air in the alveoli. So now many people can think that it should be why it is different, like it should be same in the conducting airways and it should be the same in the alveoli. The answer is not that simple. The composition of the alveolar air is actually different from the composition of the air in the airways, and the answer is that because we know that the volume of air which is entering inside the alveoli is very less, and compared to the volume of the air which is already there in the lungs. We know that the absorption of the oxygen and the production of the carbon dioxide, basically the exchange of gases across the lungs, is a continuous process. It is continuously happening. So if you know that, if we start talking about the concept of the functional residual capacity, so you know, if I say that 2300 ml is the volume of the air which is in the lungs when the person normally exhales. So 2300 ml is in the case of the males. So it is basically the volume of air which is left inside the lungs after a normal expiration. Now what happens when a person starts inspiring? So if you see that, if you are talking about that the rate of breathing in a person is 12 breaths per minute. So by that the duration of one breath is 5 seconds, and by that means the duration of one inspiration will be around 2.5 seconds. So here your x-axis is showing us the time. So you can see that the volume at the 0 seconds will be the 200 milliseconds. At the 0 seconds the volume in the lungs is 200 mLs, okay, and when the inspiration starts, like it is lasting for 2.5 seconds, what is happening, the volume is increasing, and now the volume has reached how much? It is around 2650 ml. That is, there is an increase of volume by 350 ml. So what happens in a normal person when he is inspiring? 500 ml of air is a tidal volume, out of which only 350 ml enters inside the alveoli, 150 stays in the conducting airway. So the alveolar air which enters inside the lung during that one inspiration is 350 ml. So it adds to the volume of air which is there in the alveoli, and ultimately the air at the end of the inspiration in the alveoli is 2650 ml. And then again, after inspiration, the expiration is going to happen. So this air will then go back to the functional residual capacity, which is 2300 ml. So you can see the volume change which is happening during one breath is only 350 ml, and that change in the volume is only 1/7 of the functional residual capacity. So the volume of the air which remained in the lungs is much higher, is 7 times higher than the volume of air which enters inside the lung during each breath. So you can see that because the process of the breathing, or the process of the exchange of gases is continuously happening, that 23 ml of the air is continuously exposed to the lungs, to the blood. So what is happening? So during this time, if we say during this time, what is happening, like at this time, at the end of the inspiration, to 2300 ml air is there. So this air is continuously exposed to the blood. The oxygen is being taken out from it and the carbon dioxide is added into it. So what will happen, that during the inspiration, during expiration, what is going to happen, that the composition of the partial pressure of oxygen and the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide is going to be different because the volume is different. And during inspiration also, what is going to happen, the composition of the carbon dioxide is going to be different and the composition of the oxygen is going to be different as you compare with a different phase of the respiration. So you see that there is a continuous change in the volume which is happening during the process of the respiration and during the process of the breathing, and also because the absorption of the carbon dioxide is continuously happening, the production of the carbon dioxide is continuously happening, then the volume which is entering inside the lungs in the alveoli is also very less. It's only 1/7. So it's not the whole exchange of the 2300 ml of the air. It's not being totally replaced. It is only partially replaced. And even if you increase the alveolar ventilation, even if it is 250 ml, you twice it, you get it to 700 ml per breath it is entering inside the alveoli. At that time also it is going to be only partially replacing the air which is present in the alveoli, and that is how the composition of the alveolar air is not going to be constant at any time. It is going to be different from the composition of the air in the airways. Okay, so now how can we calculate it? So we are interested in calculating the partial pressure of not carbon dioxide, partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli. So this is a table which I have taken from the Guyton. So these two things we have already discussed in the previous video. Here we are discussing this part. So if you see, there is a change in the partial pressure of oxygen between the humidified air, in the airways it is 149.3. Here it is 104. So there is a drop in the oxygen partial pressure because oxygen is continuously being absorbed, and also the carbon dioxide is entering inside the alveoli, which is replacing the oxygen. Or you can say the increase in the partial pressure of the carbon dioxide in the alveoli, which is showing that the carbon dioxide is continuously entering inside the lungs, and this is remained constant, and the partial pressure of the nitrogen is changed little bit. So now we can see that how the calculation could take place. So this is the equation which is used to calculate the alveolar gas equation. It is used to calculate the ideal alveolar PO2, because here this equation is not considering the phase of respiration in which the respiration is happening. So it is like at a one point, what will be the partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli. So how it is being calculated, this part of the fraction is actually telling what is the amount of the oxygen which is entered into the airways, or you can see the fraction, the volume of the partial pressure of the oxygen which is entered into the alveoli, and this part is actually showing you the partial pressure of oxygen which is consumed by the body. Okay, so the minus of that is going to tell you what is the alveolar PO2 at that point of time. So this is actually going to tell you what is the partial pressure of oxygen in the airways. Okay, because that is the oxygen only which is entering inside the alveoli. So this is how the fraction of inspired dry oxygen. So we know that in the dry air 0.21% of the oxygen is being there, and if you see, this is the atmospheric pressure at that altitude. So if you are talking about at a sea level, the partial pressure, the atmospheric pressure is 760 mmHg, and if the temperature of the body is 37 degrees Celsius, the partial pressure of the water will be 47. So if you multiply this thing 0.21 into 713, you will get 149.73, which we have seen in the previous slide. So this tells you that this is the amount of oxygen which has entered inside the alveoli. Now at the same time, what is happening? The oxygen is being taken out from the alveoli and the carbon dioxide is being dropped inside the alveoli. So how you can calculate that thing? For calculating that thing, you need to know what is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the alveoli. Okay, so and then how much and then what is a respiratory quotient? So respiratory quotient is basically the volume of carbon dioxide which is produced, the rate of carbon dioxide production and the rate of oxygen consumption. So this tells that for a particular diet this value is constant, that for example for carbohydrates the 6 moles of carbon dioxide is being produced and 6 moles of oxygen are being consumed. So this basically indirectly is telling us that what is the amount of the carbon dioxide, what is the amount of the oxygen which is being consumed by the body. So by this equation we can calculate that what is the volume of the oxygen which is being replaced from the alveoli, what is the amount of the carbon dioxide which has entered, and what is the volume of the oxygen which has been consumed by the body if we know about a particular diet. So if it is a carbohydrate, the RQ is equal to 1. If it is a mixed diet, the RQ is equal to the 0.8. RQ is going to be different from protein diet and different for the fat diet. So from this now we can calculate the alveolar gas equation. Right now we can use this formula to calculate the alveolar PO2. So as I said, this part of the equation is telling you what is the amount of oxygen which has entered inside the airways or in the alveoli, because it's going to tell you the partial pressure of oxygen in the airways also and the partial pressure of oxygen which has entered inside the alveoli. This part is going to tell you the partial pressure of oxygen which is replaced from the alveoli, because the oxygen is continuously being consumed by the body and the carbon dioxide is continuously being added in the alveoli. So if we put all these points here, 0.21 into 760 minus 47 minus PaO2 is 40 mmHg divided by 0.8 is the RQ. So from this you will get 0.21 into this will come to 149.73. This will come around 50. So this will give you 99.73 to 100 mmHg. So from this you can know that 100 mmHg is basically the partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli. So this is how you understand that the partial pressure of oxygen in the atmosphere, it is around 159 mmHg. Then in the airways it came to 149, and then in the alveoli it is ultimately going to the 100 mmHg. So this is how you can calculate the alveolar PO2, and these are the references you can look upon it. Guyton has explained very nicely about the alveolar ventilation, about the oxygen consumption, how it varies. If the oxygen consumption is different, how the change in the alveolar ventilation is going to change your partial pressure, your composition of the alveolar gas. And similarly for the carbon dioxide they have also shown. So I recommend you to read that part also, and also from the board. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And in the comment section, please let us know any topic you want us to make a video on. Till then, keep learning.